Hey, if you're new to my channel, then consider liking and subscribing. It would really mean a lot to me, and honestly, it'd make my day. If you already did, thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, if you like listening to fan fiction, check out my other channel. The link's in the description.
The Comet Wish by Moriana 19. What would you do if one night you made a wish on a comet, and the next morning woke up on the Going Merry? Join Rose, an otaku who's about to have the adventure of a lifetime, as she lives through the arcs of One Piece with the Straw Hats. Adios.
Hody is smirking in the center of Goncourt Plaza along at the site of Neptune and his 3 sons beaten and chained to the stakes. Jahahaha. What a sight this is. Momboshi cringes at his injuries. What ridiculous strength. Fukaboshi turns to his father. I apologize, father. Neptune shakes his head. You don't need to apologize, they used a drug for strength. Ryuboshi grits his teeth. How's the country going to survive? The civilians who are watching from above the platform stayed silent in horror as the fishmen pirates start cheering. Let's burn them alive. No, let's skewer them. Hody glares at her subordinates. Silence. Everyone immediately lost their voice, causing him to continue. We can't kill them yet. There's still no report of Shirahoshi's death. If we can't lure her out, then holding them hostage is pointless. Momboshi glares at him while struggling with his chains. Don't you dare hurt our sister, she's not a threat. Hody chuckles before smirking at the prince. Did you honestly think I didn't know about her, Prince Momboshi? It's quite the opposite. The one I want to destroy the most is the mermaid who can call the sea canes. The royal family widens their eyes at this when members of Hody's crew call out to him. Captain, we got Shirahoshi and Jimbei. The members of the royal family and the citizens watched in horror as the pirates slammed Shirahoshi, Jimbei and Megalo to the ground with all 3 of them tied in chains. The royal mermen look at the princess in shock. Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi tears up as she looks at her family. Father Sama, brother Samas. Hody laughs in victory. Jahahaha. I never thought this could be so easy. The only thing left is to figure out how the Straw Hats will respond. I'm sure they're at Neptune's palace finding out that they were too late to save their friends and are furious. But no matter, preparations have already been made for them. He snaps his fingers to signal his army of henchmen and human slaves to the plaza, causing the watching citizens to tremble. Who are these guys? Hody keeps his smirk as he turns to his crew. My fishmen capable of wielding weapons lead to a total of 70,000. The human slaves that we captured in the past month are a total of 30,000. Altogether, we have a total of 100,000 outlaws waiting for the Straw Hats. His fishmen army cheered while Hody looked up to the cliffs where the civilians are watching. We've gathered these slaves to the point where it totals thousands in our army. Their own species were ashamed of them, and now the doors to their homes are for the taking. Are you all going to run, die, or join us? The decision is yours. Madame Shirley floats up to the edge of the cliff, causing such a disturbance in a public plaza. Don't get carried away with yourself. Hody looks up to glare at the shark mermaid. How nostalgic. What do you want, Madame Shirley? Since you're acting like the man in charge, I figured that I should tell you something. I made a prediction earlier today that a man will destroy Fishman Island. Hody smirks at this. So I'm the one you saw in your vision? No, the man who will destroy this island is Straw Hat Luffy. It's definitely not you. The other civilians look at her in shock before talking. What does that mean? Does that mean Hody's not destined to rule the island? Hody glares at Madame Shirley, then shoots her in the shoulder. The citizens rush to her aid while Hody begins ranting. Nonsense. What are you getting at? I'm different from your older brother Arlong. When I was a kid, your brother Arlong was admired by all in the Fishman district. But he lost it all to humans. But we obtained power from the plan I put into action 10 years ago. Want to know how it started? Queen Otahime, who you all held so dear, I was the one who killed her. Almost everyone, including Hody's own henchmen, were completely mortified by the news. Jimbei was the first to speak. What did you say? The lower members of Hody's crew snapped out of it, but they were still startled. You really killed the queen, Captain? The higher-ups in his crew were chuckling. You idiots didn't notice? Hody nods while explaining. That day, I paid a human pirate to start the fire that day to create a distraction. During the panic, I shot the queen when no one was looking. I even shot the human to set him up as the assassin." Neptune glares at him while furiously struggling with his chains. "You bastard." Hody punches the king in the stomach to shut him up, then turns to Shirahoshi while smirking. "She was such a bother, right, Shirahoshi? Saying that revenge against humans was bad. Crying all over the island about getting along with humans. It made me sick seeing her do it. What do you think of her killer?" Tears starts falling from Shirahoshi's eyes as she looks at Hody softly. "I already knew." Everyone widens their eyes at her statement while Hody glares at her. "What do you mean you knew?" Shirahoshi keeps weeping while explaining. "Megalo used to be the Neptune army's pet. When the incident happened he saw everything and told me in secret." Jimbei turns to her in astonishment. "If you knew then why didn't you tell us?" "If I told anyone then they would hold resentment towards Hody, and that would make mother sad. I made a promise with her on her deathbed that whoever the killer was, no matter where they're from, to not hold hatred against them." Her brothers were bewildered at her statement until Fukaboshi spoke up. "For 10 years you obeyed mother's wish? You kept this truth to yourself all this time?" The others look at her softly until Hody started laughing. "Megalo, you made the right choice to tell this stupid woman. If you had told anyone else our plans would have been crushed, jahahaha." Shirahoshi's family and Jimbei glare at him while he continues. "Listen up, Shirahoshi. We call that stupidity in the real world. Because you didn't hold any hatred against me, this country will go to ruin. Because of you. Your family and the good people of Fishman Island will die." Shirahoshi widens her eyes at this before Jimbei starts yelling. "That's not true. Don't listen to him, Shirahoshi. You did nothing wrong." Hody keeps his smirk while turning to the merman and gets in a stance. "What else would it be but wrong? Yabu same." He uses his fishman karate to shoot water bullets from his hand and fires at the merman. The citizens were screaming as they see the king and princes badly wounded and fall unconscious while Hody is laughing at the scene. "This is really happening, this is insane." Some of the fish children run up to Madame Shirley while her wounds are being treated. "Madame Shirley, when will that pirate come to destroy the island?" Madame Shirley quirks an eyebrow. "I don't know, I never see a specific point in the future when I have a vision. It could happen tomorrow, or even a year from now." The fish boy starts clenching his fists. "I want it to happen right now." Shirley widens her eyes at this while listening to the kid's desperate pleas. "If he rampages the island now it would be bad for us, but it would be bad for them too. I want it to happen now too. I don't want the king to die." The adults look at the children softly before coming to a realization. They're right. "I want that too. Hey Straw Hat Luffy. If you want to destroy the island, do it now. Rampage the island now. If you're anywhere on the island, come here. Come on, Straw Hat." Hody groans at the crowds chanting. "I guess this is what it means to grasp for straws. Don't they get that Shirley's just making up lies?" He turns to Neptune and gets ready to deliver the final blow. "I'll pull you all back to reality right now. Look closely as King Neptune's head flies through the air." The crowd screams at what he's about to do when Shirahoshi cries, "Luffy-sama. Please protect Father Sama." Megalo spits Luffy out of his mouth while the crowd looks at him in confusion. Before anyone can react, however, Luffy uses second gear to rush to Hody and kicks him and kill Neptune to send him flying to the cliff wall. The crowd looks at him in utter shock for a moment before cheering while members of Hody's crew were slack-jawed at what they just saw. "He was in the shark's mouth?" Jimbei sighs in exasperation. "He came out too early, but it couldn't be helped. Everyone else, hurry up." One of Hody's crew members looks at him in confusion. "Who are you talking to?" "Don't worry, Jimbei, we were hurrying up from the start." The crew members turned to Nami's voice but couldn't see her until she started using her staff to cancel the mirage she made to hide herself. It would have been a miracle for Luffy to stick to a plan. Mirage dissolved. She made herself visible to everyone around her, causing Hody's crew to jump in shock while she continued her conversation with Jimbei. "I gave Robin the keys to the chains." Jimbei nods in approval. "Good work." The crew member that was holding the keys searches his pocket to see that they were gone. "What the hell? When did you take them?" They turned to see that Robin unlocked the royal family's chains, but before they could react, a shadow was looming over them to see Neptune's pet whale and the Sunny flying above them. Frankie smirks as he prepares the Sunny to attack. Down cannon. The Sunny fires a light beam at the pirates, causing a large enough distraction for the whale to swoop in and get Neptune and his sons away from the plaza. Neptune starts regaining consciousness and looks down at the crowd. What happened? Fukaboshi stares down at the crowd. It appears that Jimbei made a plan with the Straw Hats. Ryuboshi and Momboshi join the two mermen as they all looks down to see Rose using her wind to ease the Sunny's landing, then jumps off the ship along with Ace, Kato, Zira and the crew. Rose smirks in excitement while staring at the fishmen pirates. Alright, time for some ass kicking. Luffy joins the crew when the civilians start yelling down to him. Straw Hat, do you really mean to take down the island? Why did you occupy Neptune's palace? Are you friends or foes? Luffy tilts his hat up before crossing his arms over his chest. Friends or foes? Stuff like that, you decide. The island's people simply stared at the rubber captain before cheering him on. The fishman crew yells at them to shut up while the crew was talking among themselves. Brook looks up at Shirahoshi. Mermaid princess, how beautiful you are. Yo-ho-ho-ho. Excuse me, but could you show me your panties? He was cut off by Nami, who whacked him on the head. Shut up. Zira's sweat drops as she watches Brook flirting with the princess from the railing before turning to Rose. Why did he ask a mermaid for panties? Rose shrugs. I've learned not to question it. Robin turns to Chopper. What was with the whale? We found him on the way, so he decided to join us. Kato nods. He refused to be left out when he could help the king. Ace grins at that. Can't blame him. Frankie grins down from the Sunny. Oi, if anyone wants to help demonstrate my super new weapons, then come up here. Usopp, Chopper and Nami nod as they rush into the ship with Frankie while Luffy turns to Shirahoshi. I gotta say, Shirahoshi did a good job back there. Jimbei nods. Yes, I haven't expected her to get caught and reveal something like that. Shirahoshi looks at Luffy in surprise. Luffy-sama, did you just say my name? Up until now you always called me Crybaby? Luffy nods as he grins up at her. Yeah, I don't know the details, but it looks like you aren't as big of a crybaby as I thought you were. Shirahoshi widens her eyes at this while Jimbei nods. It's true, Shirahoshi, it must have been hard keeping a secret like that all those years. The princess starts tearing up at his words. I'm very sorry for selfishly keeping the truth to myself. Jimbei shakes his head. It's fine, you were trying to stop the hatred from spreading onto the island. If everyone can come to feel the same, then we can stop the fighting between fishmen and humans. Let me help you make your wish come true. Shirahoshi couldn't hold back anymore and starts bawling. Why yes, thank you so much, Wah. Rose flies up and pats her shoulder. Shirahoshi's definitely a strong person. If I was in her place, there's no way I could have stayed quiet in the tower. Vander Decken was completely useless. The crew turns to a furious Hody who punched the cliff beside him, causing the rock to crack. Hody starts glaring at Jimbei as he returns to his crew. I fell right into your trap, Jimbei. I should have guessed this was the case when you didn't resist as much as you could have after getting caught. I can't believe how friendly you got with these humans. Don't you remember how Fisher Tiger was killed by humans? Your sort that would side with humans instead of taking vengeance, or even more cowardly than Neptune. But I'll fix that once I become king of this country. I'll make sure no one will oppose us fishmen, especially the pirates. He smirks as he points to his human pirate slaves. Take a good look at the pirates under my hold, Straw Hats. This will be your future while I'm the one who will be pirate king. Just what do you think you can do with 13 against 100,000? Zira widens her eyes at what he said. There are 14 of us, did he not count me in? What the hell? I'll show them not to underestimate the bird. She goes to open her mouth to screech, but Rose covers her beak with her hand. Wait until the playing field's a little more even, Zira. The Falcon tilts her head in confusion before looking to see Luffy using his Conqueror's Haki to knock out 50,000 of Hody's men. The civilians were completely shocked at what they witnessed. What just happened? Robin stares at Luffy wide-eyed. He can use Haki? Jimbei was astonished at what he just saw. He managed to get this far in 2 years? Sanji sighs as he smokes his cigarette. So Luffy had Conqueror's Haki after all, lucky bastard. Zoro chuckles in amusement. If he couldn't do this, then he shouldn't be captain. Ace sighs in disappointment. He beat me to the punch. Oh well, we can take care of 50,000. Rose nods in agreement. It's no problem. Luffy turns to Hody and glares at him. You're Hody, right? You can be whatever king you want, but there's only room for one pirate king and that's gonna be me. Hody widens his eyes at this when Luffy jumps, then uses third gear to grow his hand and punch at the crowd, causing the crew to join the fray. Rose looks around to see that she's surrounded by fishmen. One of the pirates widen their eyes when they take a look at her face. Hold on, isn't that Windrider Rose? The demon girl that invaded the war 2 years ago? Holy shit, you're right. That's not possible. The devil of hell's Comet was supposed to be dead. Rose grins in pure excitement while staring at the crowd. Oh man, I'm more pumped for fighting than Ban is when he fights Meliodas. Let's get this party started. She smirks as she flies above them 10 feet in the air while focusing to create 2 tiny air balls floating in each of her hands. If I'm dead, then these storm bombs won't hurt a bit. She throws them at random spots in the crowd and watches them grow while falling at a groaningly fast rate. The pirates look at the falling balls nervously until they hit the ground and turn into large air domes that are sending dozens of fishmen who are trapped inside flying from the air pressure. The storm bombs quickly dissolve after the impact and release the trapped pirates in their hold, causing them to fall unconscious. The pirates who aren't hurt by the storm bombs stare at their fallen comrades in shock before getting ready to attack her, but they lost sight of her and start looking for her frantically. Looking for someone, gentlemen? They quickly look behind them to see Rose smirking behind them while turning her arms into tornadoes. But before they could react, Rose flew through the crowd and started the twister, punching everyone in her path. When a large fishman in a thick suit of armor tries to attack, hands the end of the tornado on her right arm into a drill. Twister drill. She uses the drill to cut through the armor, then dulls the drill once it was about to reach flesh to twister punch him and send him flying into the crowd behind him. I love this drill, but it could be gruesome if it hits someone's body. Still, this fight is totally awesome. When the fishmen tried to attack her all at once, she creates a hurricane around herself to send them flying, then cancelled it out to continue her assault while Zira flies above a group of fishmen about to charge Shirahoshi. I'll teach you jerks not to count me out. Sound grenades. Zira spits out small voice bubbles at the fishmen that were about to charge at Shirahoshi, and when they reached contact blew up into voice bombs at a frequency loud enough to knock them out. Some of the fishmen that are using guns as weapons look up at Zira in shock. The bird's a pirate? I thought it was a pet? Let's shoot it down. They aimed their guns, but before they could pull the trigger they were attacked from behind by Kato's fishman karate. He keeps a smirk on his face as he's to fight the surrounding fishman pirates. I might not be as good at fishman karate as Boss Jimbei, but I can still hold my own against pirates. Ace smirks as he turns his arms into flames. Not as much as I can. He jumps up and creates small green orbs from his fingertips to surround his enemies, then blew them up before they could react. When the survivors charged at him, he launched fire fists at them large enough to dissolve any fishman karate moves that they launched. Brook grins as he starts playing his music. I couldn't agree more, Ace-san. The only thing missing is some music. Yo-ho-ho-ho. Brook hypnotizes the pirates who aimed their guns at the princess with his music, then struck them while they were distracted. Zoro backed him up by slicing every pirate that tried to attack the skeleton, then stared, slicing any enemy he came across. Sanji uses Sky Walk for the first time with the crew to avoid the surrounding fishmen that were about to attack him. Luffy grins up in excitement while punching his enemies left and right. Whoa, Sanji's flying. Robin uses her devil fruit ability to put her surrounding foes in choke holds, then looks up in amusement. That's CP9's move. I'm impressed. Sanji sees some of the pirates using bubbles to fly towards the princess, then Sky walks in front of them. Oi, if you want the princess you have to go through me. Sanji turns around and gives Shirahoshi a goofy grin while giving her a thumbs up. Not to worry, princess. Your knight is here to protect you. Shirahoshi smiles at that while Sanji turns back to the goons and sets his leg aflame. Diable Hambi. Poelleafrire Spectre. He kicks down the flying pirates easily while below him Robin uses her devil fruit to create a giant pair of legs and stomps on her enemies. A group of fishmen with poisonous weapons Robin and gets their weapons ready. Let's get her poison squad, yay. No matter how large those legs are, they can't handle our venom. They start charging when they hear Frankie yelling. Soldier Dock System, Channel 4, Rhino Bike. The group looks at the ship in confusion until they see Frankie leaving the dock system on a rhinoceros-looking motorbike and riding towards them. Frankie smirks as he rides towards the crowd and starts running them over. What was that about poison? If you think you can poison this, then be my guest. This baby's made of steel. Frankie keeps riding when he's about to be confronted by a large fish man swinging a giant flail. Leave it to me. I'll crush that bike. He swings towards the bike when he was blasted from behind. Frankie turns from the fish man to see Chopper riding on top of the tank he made with Nami and Usopp driving. Good work driving the brachio tank, guys. Brooke, Rose and Luffy look at the tank in pure excitement. Awesome. Chopper tears up in happiness. Call me Commander Chopper from now on. Usopp, open fire. Roger that, Commander Chopper. Usopp fires the cannons while Nami steers the tank. The crowd starts cheering when they see how the crew was taking care of the fishman pirates, causing Hody to grit his fangs. What ignorant fools, he turns around and starts yelling, "Come here, Kraken." Tsurume makes it over to the plaza and looks down at Hody nervously while listening to his orders. There are only a few of them, Kraken. Crush them and put an end to this idiocy. Tsurume looks at the crew nervously while they're fighting. Rose turns to see Tsurume, then smiles while Twister punching a fishman in the face and waves with her other hand. Hey Tsurume, how's it going? Wanna join the fight? Tsurume widens his eyes while Luffy waves at him with a toothy grin. So this was where you were, Tsurume? You remember me? We're friends. Tsurume starts smiling before joining the fight against the fishman pirates until he's next to the princess and protecting her. The higher-ups in Hody's crew were slack-jawed at what they're seeing. He switched sides. Luffy keeps smiling while fighting. Tsurume, you're in charge of protecting Shirahoshi. Tsurume nods while Shirahoshi turns to him. Please take care of me, Tsurume-sama. He scratches his head happily while fighting off any fishman pirates that comes near them. Rose smiles as she keeps fighting her crowd, but stays close to Tsurume. As long as I stay near Tsurume, I can stop him from hurting Shirahoshi. Chopper's tank keeps moving until it stops and Chopper looks around. Where is everyone? Usopp looks through the scope to see no one is around them. They probably ran away. Now's our chance to attack the leaders. Nami looks through another scope to look around when the tank starts shaking. What the hell? Usopp looks up in confusion. Hey Commander Chopper, what's going on? I don't. Whoa. The tank falls into the pit trap, making the vehicle unable to move. The cookie-cutter shark fish man named Daruma from Hody's higher-ups digs himself out of the tunnels he made and starts laughing. Kya kya. I hope you enjoyed my special Daruma fall. Now all that's left is to make the bike idiot. He cuts himself off when he sees Frankie riding towards him. Hey guys, what's going on with the tank? Frankie keeps riding until he falls into the pit trap. Damn it, a pitfall? Daruma's eyes bug out at what he saw. Is he a moron? Usopp, Nami and Chopper get out of the tank slowly while Frankie gets up in irritation. That bastard, I'll show him. Frankie tosses Nami, Usopp, and Chopper out of the hole before they could say anything. Nami sits up and glares down at Frankie. What was that for? Frankie smirks while turning to the two vehicles. Because this is gonna be a one-person vehicle now, it's time to transform. The three pirates look at him in confusion until they see him combining the tank and the bike to become a giant metal robot that looks like Frankie, then climbs inside. Let me introduce you guys to Shogun Frankie. Ow. Usopp and Chopper look at him with stars in their eyes. That's so cool. After watching Frankie fighting, Nami turns around to see some fishmen pirates about to attack her, then uses her climb attack to create storm clouds and shoot them with lightning. Usopp turns around to the charging fishmen and gets his slingshot ready. I'm not gonna hesitate anymore. Bamboo javelin. Usopp shoots some bamboo seeds on the ground by the enemy's feet that instantly grow to attack his enemies. He grins in excitement as he keeps up the fight while Daruma starts digging a new tunnel. Kya, kya, I'll be sure to take care of the robot with my huh? Is someone else digging? He looks around in confusion when he hears someone else digging until he was sent flying out of the holes. What the hell? He gets up to see Chopper jumping out of the holes in his new horn point. You're not the only one who can dig tunnels. Luffy turns to Chopper in amazement. Chopper, you learned how to turn into a stag beetle? I'm not a beetle. In the 2 years I improved my transformation. I can transformation points while I only need the rumble ball for one now. Luffy nods before getting back to fighting. Great work. Chopper blushes before getting into a happy dance. Don't compliment me in the middle of a fight, jerk. It's not like I'm happy. Daruma grits his teeth. I'm gonna rip you to shreds, you coral bastard. Chopper snaps out of it before glaring at him. They're not coral, they're horns. He rushes to fight Daruma. But he went underground again, causing Chopper to follow while Tsurume keeps protecting Shirahoshi. The Kraken stops fighting when he hears Hody calling out to him. Great job in capturing Shirahoshi, Kraken. Make sure you crush her. Tsurume was hesitant on the order, causing Hody to glare at him. Have you forgotten about your brothers who are living in the North Pole? Since we know where they live, we can kill them anytime we want. He turns away from Tsurume while watching the rest of the fight. If that's what you want, then keep fighting my crew. Tsurume looks at him nervously while Jinbei glares at Hody. He kept him under his thumb by threatening his brothers? Tsurume closes his eyes as he goes to crush Shirahoshi, but she wasn't in his grasp. He looks around until he sees Shirahoshi flying with Rose. Rose looks at him softly as she keeps them at a safe distance. Sorry Tsurume, you can't hurt her. Tsurume glares at her as he goes to reach for them. Tsurume, he stops himself to Luffy's voice, then turns to see Luffy looking up at him. You obeyed him because you want to protect your brothers? Luffy places his hand over his hat while grinning. Shishishi, in that case let me protect them too. Tsurume widens his eyes while Luffy turns to Hody and walks towards him. Hundreds of fishmen come charging at Luffy, but Ace, Zoro, and Sanji cover him as he keeps walking. Ace blocks a giant fishman's attack, then sees more going after Luffy from behind, causing him to use his Conqueror's Haki to know them out before they could touch him. He smirks as he keeps fighting off the fishmen. Can't let you interfere with my brother's fight. Luffy keeps going when a group of fishmen charge him, but before they reach him he jumps and kicks Hody in the face. Hody quickly gets up and glares at him while getting in a stance. I hope you're ready to die. Luffy returns the glare. There's no way I'm dying. The two captains faced off while Rose is still flying with Shirahoshi. I need to get back to the fight. Will you be okay with staying with Tsurume? Shirahoshi nods, causing Rose to start descending with her when the sky begins to get dark. Shirahoshi looks around in confusion. Why did it become so dark? Rose stops moving while remembering what's going on. Shit. She and everyone else looks up to see the giant ship Noah heading towards the island. Why is the boat heading towards the plaza? Who the hell is moving it? Everyone stops talking when the giant puffer fish Wadatsumi falls from the ship right in front of Tsurume. Hody widens his eyes when he sees the giant fish man. You're from Dekkan's crew. Wadatsumi ignores him as he looks up at the ship. Captain, I fell. Stop the ship please. I don't want to die. Usopp widens his eyes at what he said. Did he say die? Robin nods. No doubt if the ship keeps falling the ocean would be dyed red with our blood. Chopper trembles at that. Don't say such scary things. Hody glares up at the ship. Decken, you crazy pirate. This wasn't part of the plan. Dekkan smirks as he ignores Hody and steps out onto the deck with a Den Mushi. Bahohoho. Sorry Wadatsumi. But saving you is impossible. When I use my ability, anything I throw will keep flying until it reaches the target. You'll die along with the island, so that I can kill Shirahoshi. Consider yourself a sacrifice. Wadatsumi looks at him with a heartbroken expression while Jinbei widens his eyes at this. He managed to throw Noah like he did with the axes? Kato clenches his teeth in rage. That bastard, he wants to destroy the island along with the princess? Rose turns to Shirahoshi, but she wasn't flying in her wind anymore. What the? She looks up to see her floating above her on a bubble. Decken, I'm over here. Nami widens her eyes when she sees her. What's she doing? Shirahoshi is the target, so she's moving herself away from the island, Jinbei says. Shirahoshi keeps yelling to Dekkan. Your target is my life, isn't it? Then just take it, leave the rest of the island alone. The citizens were moved to tears by their princess's words while Dekkan keeps his smirk up. You plan on taking this disaster with your own body, so that you can protect the kingdom, then die in this beautiful moment and live on forever in my heart? He throws a knife at Shirahoshi, but before the blade can touch her, Rose flies in front of her and blasts the knife away with a wind cannon. The The citizens widen their eyes at Rose's actions. Wait, that's the Hell's Comet girl? So it's true that she's alive? Shirley nods after her wound was fully treated. That's her, but her name's Rose. The others nod as they cheer for her. Good job protecting Shirahoshi. Decken clenches his teeth. Stay out of our love wedge. Rose glares at him while flipping him off. Shut up, pedophile. I'm not letting you stab her. Shirahoshi looks at her in awe. Rose-sama. Rose turns to her with a serious look on her face. Shirahoshi, go out to sea, swim away as fast as you can at an angle. Whatever you do, try to get the ship not directly above the island. I'll cover you. If she leaves at an angle, we won't have to worry about Noah falling on the island. Shirahoshi nods before rushing to the bubble's exit. Thank you. Rose nods as she deflects Deccan's knives that he's throwing at Shirahoshi while following closely behind. Zira looks around to see the others staring. With Rose there, I'm sure the princess will be fine. I can use this chance to wait. She looks around to see Hody missing. Guys, where's Hody? The crew looks around until Brooke points to the ship. There he is. He's on the underside of Noah. They look to see Hody climbing up one of the chains that are dangling from the ship. Sanji starts skywalking towards the ship when Luffy runs after him. Sanji, I'm gonna fly up there. You guys look after the plaza. Sanji nods. Alright, are you gonna be alright though? The boat'll be in the water? Luffy turns to Jinbei. Is the inside of the boat full of water, Jinbei? I'm not sure, but since Deccan is able to go inside the boat, it should have some air. Use this bubble-making coral just in case. He tosses the coral to Luffy, causing him to nod before yelling up. Rose, once Shirahoshi's out of the island, look after the plaza. Hody's mine. Rose deflects another knife before nodding. Got it. Luffy stretches his arms to grab Sanji's leg while the chef turns to the ship. I leave Shirahoshi-chan to you, Luffy. Ready for launch? Sanji asks, causing Luffy to nod. Do it. Sanji kicks the air as hard as he can to catapult his captain onto one of the ship's chains. Luffy clings onto the chain, then looks down to see that the civilians are pulling down on one of the chains to buy Shirahoshi time to escape. Pull everyone, we gotta slow this ship down even for a little bit. Don't let Noah fly off. Shirahoshi starts tearing up at their gesture while getting close to the exit. Everyone. Rose looks at them softly before turning to Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi, I'm gonna make sure they don't get hurt. Will you be okay from here? Shirahoshi nods as she keeps moving to the exit while Rose turns her body into wind to start flying to the chain while Hody glares down at the civilians. They can't be serious. They won't be able to move the boat at all. He starts getting his water bullets ready while Luffy glares at him. Hey, leave them alone. He shoots his water bullets at the people, but Rose rematerializes 10 feet from the chain with her hockey-infused staff in her hands. Wind scythe. She swings her staff to create a large wind slash shaped like a crest water bullets before they harmed anyone. Rose cancels out the hockey on her staff while lightly panting. Looks like upgrading my wind blade with hockey worked, but it's still a little draining. Luffy grins down at her while using the coral to make a bubble around his body. Way to go, Rose. I got it from here. Rose nods up to him, then turns to the fishmen who are holding the chain down. You guys did great, but you'd better go before Hody tries to hurt you again. Before they can protest, Rose uses her wind to push them off the chain and gently onto the cliffside while Hody glares at her. So that's the demon girl I heard about. He tries shooting her with water bullets, but she easily dodges, then flips him off with her free hand. You're not even worth me using my energy, Grandpa. I should save up my energy for the finale anyway. Hody clenches his fangs before aiming his water bullets at her. I'm not that old. Not yet, you're not. Rose darkly chuckles while dodging his water bullets before Shirahoshi makes out of the island, causing the ship, Luffy and Hody to follow her into the ocean. Rose starts landing and sees a new fight breaking out between the crew and the fishmen pirates. Ah! Chopper's gone berserk. Rose turns to Usopp's, yelling to see Chopper in his monster form beating up his enemies before smiling down to Usopp. Hee hee, I'm fine, Usopp. Usopp widens his eyes at this. Chopper, you didn't go crazy? The giant reindeer shakes his head before explaining. After training my body for 2 years, I made it so that after eating a rumble ball I can fight in this form for 3 minutes while conscious. Now I can use this form without hurting you guys. Usopp grins in excitement. That's awesome. That form is pretty amazing now that it won't make you go berserk. Chopper lightly blushes before going into a happy dance while still in monster form. Why you think hearing that will make me happy? No way, you jerk. Stop doing that. Zero widens her eyes at his form. That's Chopper. Cool, I better make sure I'm not in the way. I didn't just sit back and watch Rose train these past 2 years. I powered up my moves too. She flies above a group of 100 pirates and surrounds them in an invisible bubble. Sonic bomb. She creates a screech in the bubble powerful enough to make their ears bleed as they fall unconscious. Ace smirks as his shoulders start catching fire in front of his surrounding enemies. I'd better finish too. Firestorm. He surrounds himself in a wall of flames strong enough to burn the fishmen around him that tried to hit him with their fishmen karate moves. Rose grins as she lands with her staff in hand and watches the others go all out. The crew really did grow. There's still some time before it's all over, so I should wait before. She snaps out of her thoughts when she senses someone about to attack her with a sword from behind and dodges, then looks to see herself surrounded by 800 fishmen. The fishmen start smirking as they get their swords ready. Perfect timing, outsider. With you out of energy from protecting Shirahoshi, we can easily kill you. You're even too weak to hit Hody at close range. Rose couldn't help but smirk at that while keeping a grip on her staff. Sorry to disappoint, but I didn't hit him because my captain wants to fight him. Besides, you guys might give me a better challenge than he could, so let's play. The pirates start glaring at her attitude. What was that? Let's kill this cocky bitch. The pirates start charging her while she dodges their attacks gracefully while whacking them on the head with her staff. She jumps to dodge the fishmen who were charging at her in opposite directions, causing them to crash into each other. A new group of fishmen were waiting above her, but she flew around to dodge, then uses her staff to help her create a gust of wind to slam them to the crowd. Rose kept the smirk on her face as she lands while putting the staff back in her back strap, then gets in a stance. What was that about killing me? Now should be a good time to finish it. They start glaring at her before they start smirking. So you can use hockey too? Rose quirks an eyebrow until she sees them infuse their weapons in armament hockey. What the hell? Ha ha ha, surprised aren't you? We've been training on armament for the past month. What better way to practice than to kill a monster? Rose widens her eyes at that. So they're noobs in hockey. They want a monster, do they? Well, I'll be more than happy to give them one. She starts smirking while the wind around her starts picking up. If you think you can finish me off, then go ahead and try. However, after playing dead for the past 2 years, I refuse to be taken out by the likes of you, wind armor. Before the mob can take a step, they brace themselves from the strong wind around them, then look to see Rose covering herself in the air currents to create a body of wind around her. The men look at the armor nervously, for the only part of Rose they can see was her purple eyes glaring at them. Holy crap, she really is a monster. One of them shakes his head before turning to the others. She's just a logia user. We can still take her. Let's kill her while we can still use our hockey. The guys nod as they charge with their hockey-infused weapons, but Rose expanded the armor to look like a giant ball surrounding her to block the weapons before they could touch her and pushed them back. After repelling them, she countered with a twister punch that's twice the size of her normal twister punch. There's no way I'd let myself stay hidden from the others these past 2 years without making myself strong enough to keep up. She shrinks the armor to normal size before charging the crowd as fast as the wind can take her while twister punching every enemy in sight. Ace finished blasting his enemies before seeing Rose fighting in her armor. What the hell? Robin and Nami finish their fights before watching Rose fighting off the fishmen with Ace. Is that Rose? Nami asks. Robin nods. I believe she used that move at Thriller Bark, but she didn't have any control. Zira flies next to them, then chuckles. That's her wind armor. She managed to upgrade it in the 2 years, watch. They looked to see Rose expanding the armor into a ball again to block their attacks, then flew above them and changing the armor into a large tornado to send her opponents flying. Zira points to the tornado. Rose is able to expand the armor into that ball to protect herself from hockey users. Also, she can change the armor's shape to different forms like a tornado, a giant person, and even a large drill. Ace widens his eyes at this. Are you serious? Zira nods. Yup, her twister punches and kicks are also twice as strong in that form, especially when she turns into a giant. Take a look. They look to see Rose use the armor to make herself almost the same size as Chopper's monster point, causing most of her remaining enemies to sweat drop. A swordfish fishman goes to attack when he runs out of energy to hold his haki, then sees everyone else unable to use haki anymore. This is the part where we run, right? Most of the others quickly nod as they make a run for it, while about 50 brave souls still want to fight. The remaining pirates glare at her as they get in a stance. Those cowards, we'll show them. Robin widens her eyes while watching Rose take care of the last of the pirates facing her. She really has gained control of her abilities over the 2 years, hasn't she? Zira grins at that. Yay, she trained really hard to control her powers, but she wanted to perfect this move the most. Ace chuckles at that. Looks like it paid off. Zira nods before sighing in exasperation. Yay, but there's a catch. Nami looks at her suspiciously. What catch? Zira points to Rose again, causing them to see Rose knocking out the last of the pirates before shrinking the armor back to normal, then canceling it out, and falling to her hands and knees while breathing heavily. The longest I've seen her able to stay in that for it's because she only used twister punches. Depending on how large she makes her armor or her moves, she loses that form faster. If she doesn't cancel it out before using up all her energy, she passes out, but even after doing that she gets exhausted. From the looks of it, she's at her limit now. The 3 pirates widen their eyes at this before rushing to Rose. Why did she use that move in the first place? Nami asked. Zira shakes her head. I think she wanted to prove that she's at everyone's level. In her defense, she did a great job in the fight. Ace looks around to see that Rose managed to knock out hundreds of enemies while in her wind armor. Yay, it was a good move. Still, she's just as reckless as Luffy. Those two were meant for each other. While running, Robin sees a fishman staggering up behind Rose, but before he could do anything to Rose, she crosses her arms over her chest. Cease fleur clutch. She creates 6 arms at the fishman's upper half and puts him in a hold. When Rose turns around, she grabs her staff and whacks him on the head as hard as she could to knock him out. When the group caught up to Rose, she turns to them and waves, but stays seated. Hey guys, thanks for the hand, Robin. Robin furrows her eyebrows at her. Was that supposed to be a pun? Rose widens her eyes at the accidental pun before giggling. My bad, it wasn't meant to be. Zira sighs in exasperation. You're too carefree, can you stand? Rose uses her staff to herself stand up while smiling. Relax, I'm fine. Using my powers is out of the question for a while, but the fight's pretty much done anyway. She points to see Sanji and Jinbei managing to defeat Wadatsumi with their combined techniques and making themselves the last ones to finish the fight while the others were recovering from their battles. Any of the fishman pirates who were left standing fled the battle in fear. Jinbei looks around the plaza astonished. Incredible, I shouldn't expect less from Luffy's crew. Kato nods. They're a lot stronger than I thought they'd be. Zoro sheathes his swords, then smirks at Sanji. What took you so long, Arrow Cook? Shut it, Marimo. My enemy was a lot stronger than yours. While they were arguing, Usopp turns to Frankie. That robot's awesome, Frankie. Frankie stays in the robot while grinning. This baby's my super favorite design. Hey Chopper, can you shrink down yet? Your body's making my robot look small. Chopper shakes his head. Sorry, can't shrink on my own. He turns to Rose with excitement in his eyes. Your wind armor was awesome, Rose. Rose grins at the compliment. Not as awesome as your monster point. Chopper gets into another happy dance while Brook turns to the girls. All 3 of you were amazing out there. Will any of you show me your? He was cut off with a whack to the head by Nami. Knock it off. Robin, Ace and Zira laugh at Nami's rage while the citizens were speechless at what they witnessed. When they were about to cheer, a shadow loomed over them, causing everyone to look up to Noah falling towards the island. Ah! The ship's falling towards us. The crew watches quietly as Luffy is doing his best to stop the ship by trying to destroy the ship. The fishmen start cheering for Luffy to succeed while Rose grits her teeth in frustration. Shit! Shirahoshi couldn't swim to the side in time. Everyone looks up to see that Shirahoshi accidentally called a group of Sea Kings over to grab Noah and stop it from falling onto the island. Every fishman on the island stared at the Sea Kings slack-jawed for a moment before cheering as the large group of fish take the ship safely away from them. Fishman Island is saved. Jinbei and Kato worked with the soldiers to capture the knocked-out pirates while Chopper shrunk down to his normal size and collapsed. Usopp crouches down to his level while Robin gently placed Chopper's head on her lap. "Are you okay, Chopper?" "Yay, after I use Monster Point I can't walk for a few hours. I can still treat everyone though." Nami looks up then widens her eyes at the view. "Isn't that the king and his sons?" The others look up to see Neptune and his sons floating down to the plaza while carrying Hody and Decken, who are both unconscious and tied up in chains. After putting the two pirates down, Fukaboshi turns to his citizens. "Everyone, be rest assured. These men will never be allowed to roam free again." The crowd cheers at the announcement while Rose turns to Chopper. "Chopper, you have your equipment in your backpack, right?" Chopper quirks an eyebrow. "Yay, are you injured?" She shakes her head. If nothing changed, then Luffy got bit by Hody while fighting him and is losing blood. The crew widens their eyes at this. "What, Robin, can you grab the medical supplies from my bag? I have equipment that can stop the bleeding," Chopper says, causing her to nod as she gently flips him over and gets the supplies ready. Wah! Everyone looks up to see Shirahoshi floating towards them as fast as she can in tears while holding an unconscious and bleeding Luffy in her hands. "Please save him. Luffy-sama won't stop bleeding." Chopper shifts his eyes to the vacant spot next to him. "Lay him down next to me, Robin. I still can't move, so I need you to move me." Robin nods as she holds him up and moves his limbs for him. Shirahoshi gently places Luffy on the ground while Robin manipulates the doctor's limbs while they treat their captain. Usopp looks at the weird scene in dread. "I'm extremely concerned about our future battles here." Chopper speaks up while doing what he can to treat Luffy. "Just leave it to me, I'll treat him." Shirahoshi keeps weeping as she looks down at him. "Really? Luffy will be fine." Chopper stops the bleeding but widens his eyes. "I managed to stop the bleeding, but he bled out too much, he needs a transfusion." Robin holds him up while he calls out to everyone. "Does anyone have blood type F? No one in our crew has it?" Ace furrows his eyebrows in frustration. "I hate having blood type D." Rose looks at Luffy softly while clenching her fists. "I hate scenes like this. I know he'll be fine, but times like these worry me for when I won't know future events anymore." The fishmen look at them nervously, causing Chopper to stop yelling. "Right, there's a blood law where fishmen can't give humans blood." Nami turns to him. "What kind of law is that?" Shirahoshi looks down sadly. "My blood type is different, but it's red." Robin turns Chopper to the princess. "Sorry, but thanks anyway. Wait, there are humans in town. Let's take him there." "That won't be necessary." The others look to see Jinbei walking up to them while rolling up his sleeve. "I have blood type F, I'll give you as much as you need." Everyone but Rose was shocked at the statement when Robin spoke up. "What about the law?" "I'm a pirate." She grins at the statement while helping Chopper get the transfusion ready for Jinbei and Luffy. The people were smiling in relief that Jinbei stepped up to save him. The minister was about to say something when Neptune placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's fine, Your Highness." Neptune nods. "That law is just another curse. We can't hold these grudges anymore." He looks at Jinbei and Luffy softly as the blood is being transferred. Luffy softly smiles while gaining consciousness. "Jinbei." Everyone happily smiles at Luffy's recovery while Jinbei chuckles. "Glad you're conscious, Luffy." Luffy slowly nods while grinning before shouting, "Jinbei, join my crew." After Luffy recovered from the blood transfusion, Jinbei, Kato, Shirahoshi, Megalo and the crew snuck away with the Sunny while Neptune was handling the punishments for the remaining fishman pirates. Shirahoshi floats next to the flying ship while looking at the crew in confusion. "Why did you all leave?" Zoro huffs before turning to her. "We were made to fight in a showy place. If we stayed at the plaza, then we'd have been looked at like heroes. Just thinking about it makes me nauseous." Shirahoshi tilts her head in confusion. "You do not wish to be treated like a hero?" "Of course not. Heroes would give their booze away to the people. I want to keep my booze." Nami shakes her head tiredly. "Why does everyone think that heroes give away stuff?" Sanji loved tornadoes up to her. "I'll be more than happy to be a hero if it meant giving you my love, Nami Swan." Nami smiles at the gesture. "Thanks, Sanji." "Why do you refuse, Jinbei?" Everyone turns to Luffy's voice to see him talking to Jinbei. Usopp grins as he joins Luffy. That's right, join the crew boss Jimbei. Chopper nods in agreement. It'd be reassuring to have a former Shichibukai join. Jimbei groans in frustration. I keep telling you that I can't right now. Look, I'm honestly happy that you invited me along. I believe it would be great to travel with you, but there's something I must do first. Afterwards, I promise you that I will come meet you all, and if at that time you still want me to join, please invite me again. Luffy nods. Without a doubt. The others smile at that while Rose stays silent in the back of the crowd. The something he's talking about must be about Big Mom. Before leaving the island I gotta ask him some questions. Zoro turns to Luffy. So what are we doing now? Are we heading to the new world like this? Shirahoshi widens her eyes while tears start building up. Yay? Are you leaving already? I wanted to properly thank you and talk more. Sanji spoke up with hearts in his eyes. That's a wonderful idea, Shirahoshi Schwan. Let's stay at the Mermaid Cafe for a week. Usopp whacks him upside the head. You just want to go there. Before anyone can say anything, a royal guard was riding towards them on a flying fish while holding onto a Den Den Mushi. King Neptune, we found the ship. Straw Hats, wait. The group turned to the guard in confusion as he catches up to them, then puts King Neptune's Den Den Mushi on speaker. Luffy-kun, please don't leave yet. We still owe you a feast. Luffy immediately brightens up at this. Feast? Okay. Let's call Hachi, Frankie's friend, and Kami too. Kato nods as he gets his baby Den Den Mushi out. I can take care of that for you guys. Luffy nods in approval. Great, let's go then. Frankie quickly steers the ship over to Neptune's palace where they were greeted by Kami, Hachi, Den, and the attendants. Thank you all for coming. Come with us. You'll need to ride these long flounders to the banquet hall. The group nods as Luffy, Rose, Zera, Jimbei, Ace Chopper, and Sanji ride on a giant flounder while Nami, Brook, Zoro, Hachi, Robin, Den, Kato and Kami rode on another flounder into a dark room full of water. Hachi looks around nervously. Is it really okay for us to be here? Frankie nods. Of course it is. You guys are our super friends after all. Luffy looks around the room frantically. Where's the meat? Ace chuckles. Relax. We'll get some meat soon. Rose looks around with excitement in her eyes. This is so cool. I can't wait for the party. Zera flies onto Rose's shoulder, cause her to snap out of her thoughts and turn to her. What's up, Zera? We don't need to worry about Hody anymore, right? She nods. Yay, the island should be fine now. So, how was your first adventure as a Straw Hat pirate? Besides getting kidnapped by a swamp monster, it was really exciting. You were right, everyone's great. Rose grins at that while petting her head. I'm glad to hear. Just so you know, the fights are bound to get tougher from here. Zera puffs her chest with pride. Bring it on. We'll show those jerks what we're made of in the new world. Rose giggles at her enthusiasm when they heard cheering below them. Everyone looks down to see that the royal army is cheering for them. It's the heroes. Thank you for saving the island. Luffy groans in irritation. Don't call us heroes. I'm eating the meat. Jimbei's sweat drops at the statement. He still thinks heroes and meat don't mix. When the flounders swam to the dark banquet hall, a spotlight was shown in the middle of the room in front of them. Shirahoshi grins in excitement. Everyone, there's the stage. Chopper looks at her in confusion. There's a stage in the banquet hall? Everyone looked at the stage curiously until various fishman musicians and the Mermaid Cafe dancers came on stage. Everyone looks around in excitement before the music started playing and the party began. Rose starts dancing around to the music when Tara, May and Lizzie swam up to her. Rose immediately grins at the three mermaids. Hey guys, are you okay, Lizzie? I heard Caribou kidnapped you. She nods. Thanks to your crew I'll be alright. May sighs. It's creeps like him that make me want to leave this world. Do you know when you're leaving, Rose? She shakes her head. Not yet, but I'm sure we're not leaving till at least tomorrow. Tara couldn't help but smile at this. That's great, as thanks for saving the island we want to give you our findings on the comet. We can give them to you tomorrow. Rose widens her eyes at this. Are you sure? May nods. Of course, you've inspired us to keep going with our research after all. With what you told us about the crystal and what some of the other worlds are like, we'll be ready in no time. Tara floats up to Rose and wraps her arm around her shoulders. Meet us at the Mermaid Cafe tomorrow morning and we'll give you everything we know. For now, let's party." The three girls cheer at that as they join the others and started partying like there's no tomorrow. Hours later, Rose giggles as she walks outside to take a break and sees Nami, Zoro, Usopp, Chopper, Zira, and Sanji laying around. "What are you guys doing here?" Nami sighs as she sits up. "I'm taking a break from drinking." Usopp nods while he stays down while rubbing his stomach. "I'm taking a break from eating and Zoro's just sleeping." Sanji's laying down while smiling with hearts in his eyes and continuously chants, "I love this island." Chopper is fanning him with a rag to try to snap him out of it. "I'm making Sanji take a break from the mermaids." Rose chuckles at that when Luffy, Ace and Jinbei walk out to join them. Luffy grins as he waves at everyone. "Hey guys." Nami tilts her head in confusion. "What are you guys doing?" Ace points to Jinbei. "Jinbei's gonna talk to us about what happened during the 2 years." The fishman nods. "It would be best if you all learn this as well." Rise widens her eyes at this then quietly sighs. "He's gonna talk about that, huh?" She goes next to Luffy while the group sat in front of Jinbei. After the war, a lot of things have happened. First, Sengoku left the navy. Usopp widens his eyes at this. "He really left?" Jinbei nods. "Yes, after the war Sengoku retired and nominated Aokiji to be his successor. The Gorosei however supported Akainu for the role. Aokiji usually doesn't care about titles, but he was strongly against Akainu becoming Fleet Admiral. They had no choice but to fight for the title, with the winner becoming Fleet Admiral and the loser holding his tongue." The group stayed silent while Jinbei continued. "The fight lasted for 10 days and while their powers were quite even, it was settled that Aokiji won the fight. Kuzan has been Fleet Admiral for the last 2 years. Aokiji." Luffy clenched his fists at that while the others look at Rose softly. Rose looks around to see everyone expecting a reaction, causing her to sigh. "It's okay guys. I found out when the papers came out. Is it true that Akainu quit?" Jinbei nods. "Akainu couldn't stand the Thaugokuji, so he left the Marines. From what I've heard, he's become an infamous bounty hunter." Rose freezes at that before running a hand through her hair. "You gotta be kidding me. Akainu being a stray dog sounds awful, but it's better than him having control of the whole navy." Chopper blinks in confusion. "You didn't know?" She shakes her head. "When I looked into this world back in New York, it was Akainu that became Fleet Admiral, but I kind of changed that, right? They don't know that I told Aokiji about the fight. Now's as good a time to tell them as any, I guess." Sanji widens his eyes at that. "You mean you changed it because of what happened at the war?" She slowly sighs as she keeps her focus on her feet. "Not exactly. You guys remember that I was offered a place in the Shichibukai? Aokiji was the one who gave me the invitation. During the exchange I let it slip that he would be fighting Akainu, so he'd be strong enough to beat him." Everyone was speechless at what she just said except for Luffy, who almost choked on his food before swallowing and yelling, "You did what? You purposely helped Aokiji become Fleet Admiral?" Nami asks. Rose nods, causing Zira to fly up to her face. "You never told me this. Why the hell would you let the guy who almost killed you become Fleet Admiral?" Rose twitches an eyebrow before pushing her away from her face. "I didn't know he was going to stab me back then. Anyway, compared to an evil lava man who doesn't care about people's lives, Aokiji was the better option. Doesn't mean I forgive him for what happened at the war. Next time I see him, I'm kicking his ass." Luffy furrows his eyebrows before grabbing her shoulders so she's facing him. "You're not leaving me out. I'm kicking his ass too." Rose nods in agreement. "Fine by me." Jinbei sighs. "I shouldn't be surprised that you did that. I believe you did the right thing in supporting Aokiji. After he took over, he managed to bring down a lot of corruption in the Marines. While the world government still isn't perfect, it's really improved. The world government isn't the only thing that changed though, the power in the Yonko has shifted as well. Ace, Kato told you what happened, right?" Ace slowly nods while staring at the floor. "Yay, he did." Jinbei looks at him softly before turning to the others. "You guys also need to know this. The other change that happened during the 2 years was the onslaught of the Blackbeard pirates." Usopp tilts his head in confusion. "Blackbeard? Wasn't he the guy Ace was Chaz?" He covers his mouth to shut himself up, causing Ace to chuckle. "It's fine, Usopp. You're right. He was the guy the first was chasing because he betrayed the crew and killed one of my crewmates. Jimbei slowly nods. After the war he conquered most of Whitebeard's territory. He even took Whitebeard's place as one of the Yonko. According to the rumors, his crew members have also been power hunting, meaning that they've been killing devil fruit users and have somehow managed to take their powers. Chopper widens his eyes at this. I'm in danger. Usopp's sweat drops at his attitude. I don't think they need the human fruit. What? Jimbei ignores them and continues. His crew is aiming for very powerful devil fruits, especially logia users, so you should be careful, Rose and Ace. Rose nods while pumping her fists. I'd like to see that asshole try taking my devil fruit. Next time I see him I'm gonna throw something bigger than an admiral at him. Nami quirks an eyebrow in confusion. What now? Zira chuckles before explaining. She used her wind to throw a kainu at Blackbeard during the war to stop him from attacking the guys. The others busted out laughing at the thought of the former admiral being thrown like a rag doll at Blackbeard. Ace was the first to recover before smirking. As much as I'd love to see that again, I'm the one taking him down. Now that I know what he's doing, I'm gonna make him pay for what he did to Pops. Jimbei nods. With how you are now, I think you have a chance, Ace. Just don't overdo it. You should be careful too, Luffy, since are you even listening to me? He cuts himself off when he sees Luffy ignoring the conversation and eating. Luffy ignores his complaining while eating a pile of Fishman Island sweets. Hey, did you guys taste this? It's really good. Nami's sweat drops at his actions while Jimbei is fuming. Aren't you, Captain, taking this information? Sanji chuckles as he raises his hands up defensively. It's okay since we all heard it, Jimbei. Chopper tilts his head in confusion. Isn't the captain the one who doesn't have to listen to anything? That's not what a captain does. Luffy carelessly smiles while eating. Relax, Jimbei. I'm gonna leave it to chance. A cloud of depression hangs over Jimbei's head. You guys must have it hard. Nami, Usopp, Sanji and Chopper slowly nod. Yeah, we do. Rose giggles at the argument then freezes. Shit, I forgot about Caribou. I better help Shirahoshi. She casually gets up so she wouldn't look suspicious then turns to the door. I wouldn't worry about it so much, Jimbei. Things tend to happen for a reason. I gotta head out for a bit. Hey Zira, wanna come with me? Zira nods as she flies out of the room with her then turns to her. What are you planning, Rose? A small smirk forms on Rose's freckled face as she cracks her knuckles. Wanna kick the swamp mont's ass with me? Zira widens her eyes at the offer before eagerly nodding. Hell yeah. I want some revenge. Let's go. Rose nods as she leads Zira to where Caribou will be while Kami swims to where the others are. Hey guys. Luffy swallows his food with a smile before waving at her. Hey Kami. Wait, I thought you were with Shirahoshi. Kami shakes her head. She said her head was spinning from the alcohol so she went to her room. Luffy nods before freezing. Hey, do you guys sense something weird? Zoro wakes up and nods. Yay, hold on, where did Rose go? She said she was heading out for a bit. You think she left to handle it? Chopper says. Luffy quickly gets up and walks out. I'm gonna see what's going on. Sanji, Ace, and Zoro get up and follow him out of the room to find out what's happening. Shirahoshi was laying on her bed while remembering today's events. I can't believe how much has happened in one day. Luffy-sama and Rose-sama are truly amazing. I want to become as strong as them too. Her eyes started to grow heavy when she starts to feel something slimy on her fin. What the MMPH? Her mouth was covered in mud that was trapping her body the more she struggled until the only part that was free was her upper body. She started tearing up as she continued to struggle. Someone help. Kahihihi. Don't be afraid, princess. It'll all be over soon. The mud that was holding her tail materialized into Caribou's upper half. Shirahoshi couldn't stop weeping as she looks down at him. Who are you? Someone help. Caribou keeps a large smirk on his face as Shirahoshi slowly sinks into his mud. Kahihi, don't worry, princess. I won't hurt you. I'm just gonna have you faint for a while. I heard that my little brother arrived at the port, so I'm taking you with me to the new world. You're really stupid if you think that will happen, you swamp donkey. Caribou freezes then slowly looks up in horror to see Zira flying right above her. She creates an invisible bubble around Caribou that created an ultrasonic screech inside. Ah! Caribou places his hands over his ears to block the sound, which starts releasing his hold on the princess until he creates mud over his ears to block out the noise. "I'll teach you to mess with me, pigeon." He aims a mud ball at Zira, but it was met with a wind cannon. Caribou widens his eyes before slowly turning to Rose, who's glaring at him. "Ah, the phantom." Rose flew up to him while infusing her right arm in armament hockey and creating a thin wind ring around her forearm. "I hope you enjoy the flight, mud monkey." Rosin ring. As soon as Rose punched him in the gut, she blasted him with the wind ring, that of the castle, and onto the island at top-notch speed. Rose looks out the window to see how far he flew but couldn't see him. Wow, he flew away faster than one of Team Rocket's blastoffs. I'm sure I didn't hit him hard enough to send him to the ocean. Tears keep running down Shirahoshi's face as she grabs Rose to hug her. "Rose-sama, I was so scared, thank you so much." Zira's sweat drops as she flies above them. "I helped too, you know. Actually, maybe it's better I don't get hugged by her." Luffy, Ace, Zoro and Sanji run into the room to see Shirahoshi weeping and hugging Rose, who is patting her hands in an attempt to calm her down. Zoro quirks an eyebrow in confusion. What happened? Rose turns herself into wind to fly out of Shirahoshi's embrace, then lands in front of the group. The swamp man was still here and almost kidnapped Shirahoshi, but Zira and I took care of him. Luffy crosses his arms over his chest and starts pouting. "Ah, why didn't you tell me about him? I wanted to kick his ass too." "Sorry Luffy, but I wanted to make sure Zira could take a crack at him after what he did to her." Zira nods. "I'm satisfied." Nami, Neptune and the captain of the guards rush into the room. The guard freezes when he sees Shirahoshi. What happened? Sanji glares at him. Shirahoshi-chan was almost kidnapped by the mudman who tried to kidnap the mermaids. Where were your guards? The guard widens his eyes at this before immediately bowing to the group. "I'm so sorry. I deeply express my gratitude for rescuing her. I can't believe the treasure thief managed to come in here." Nami widens her eyes at what he said. "Wait, did you say treasure thief?" The guard nods as he straightens up. "Yes, that man stole everything from the royal treasury." "He did what?" Luffy and Zoro look at the redhead nervously. "I got a bad feeling about this." Rose nervously gulps. "I forgot he took the treasure." Nami turns to Neptune. "It's the country's treasure, isn't it? Aren't you going to go after him?" Neptune shakes his head. "After having the country's citizens saved, I can't put a lot of value in treasure." Nami freezes at this before belly symbols form in her eyes. "Does that mean if we get it back we can keep it?" The king nods. "Of course, I'm more than happy to give it to the country's saviors." "Yay!" Nami freezes before glaring at Rose, Zoro, Luffy and Sanji. "Why didn't you guys capture him when you had the chance?" The group looks at her nervously except for Sanji, who's looking at her with hearts in his eyes as she uses her climb attack to send the four of them flying out of the castle window. "Go get it back." "Ah!" The group was plummeting towards the island. Ace stares at their departure in utter shock. "You just threw them out of the castle." A dark aura starts coming out of Nami as she glares at him. "You want to be next?" "No thanks." He makes a run for it before Nami could take a crack at him. Zira's sweat drops at what she just witnessed. "Wow, Nami really is fierce. I respect that." She chuckles before flying next to Nami. "Thank you, Nami." Nami quirks an eyebrow at the sudden gratitude. "For what?" "For treating Rose normally." She won't admit it, but one of her worries in coming back was that you guys would start treating her differently now that you know the truth about her. Nami widens her eyes at this before shaking her head. She should be worrying more about future fights. It doesn't matter where she's from, she's still my friend. I still can't believe she's alive, but I'm happy she is. Zira nods. So am I. Hey, want to hear some of her embarrassing stories from the past 2 years? Nami nods with a smirk. Sounds like fun. Robin and I can tell you some of her embarrassing moments before we separated too. Then what are we waiting for? Zira follows Nami out of the room to go find Robin. Rose and the boys were plummeting towards the ground until she uses her wind to soften the landing. After she cancelled the wind, the four of them fell face first on the ground. Zoro groans as he gets up. Damn witch, I didn't even do anything. Sanji glares at him as he dusts off his suit. Don't disrespect Nami-san, moss head. Sanji and Zoro get into a brawl while Rose sighs, then turns to Luffy. Sorry about this, I forgot Caribou had the treasure. Luffy shakes his head with a grin. Relax, as long as we get the treasure we'll be fine. Let's get going. Rose nods as she takes his hand and walks away from the fight with Luffy. Sanji blocks Zoro's swords, then sees the couple leaving. Wait guys, don't leave me alone with the Marimo. Sanji and Zoro quickly catch up to Luffy and Rose until they find a beaten up Caribou lying unconscious on the ground surrounded by the heaps of the treasure he stole from the castle. Zoro huffs in disappointment. Damn it, I can't fight him now since your punch already knocked him out. I can't believe how much he stored in his body. Luffy beams in excitement as he lets go of Rose's hand and rushes towards the treasure. Awesome, we can buy so much meat now. Sanji blinks in surprise as he starts gathering the treasure. Just look at it, that old man's really gonna let us keep all this? Rose nods as she starts picking up the treasure. I'm pretty shocked that Neptune would do this too. Too bad not all kings care about the people like he does. She stops herself after remembering something important. Right, this is when Luffy calls out Big Mom. If Luffy doesn't do it then she'll crush the island. I'm not sure what will happen after Punk Hazard, but it might be best to play along with Oda's storyline for now. There has to be some reason to his madness, right? She nods to herself as she helps the guys finish loading the treasure into 4 large sacks, then uses her wind to get them and the bags floating. We need to go past town to get to the castle, right? Which way was it again? Luffy shrugs his shoulders while Zoro points to his right. It's that way. Sanji nods as he points to the opposite direction. Then it must be this way, thanks Zoro. Hey! Rose and Luffy laugh at Zoro and Sanji's bickering while Rose uses her wind to get the group flying towards town. In front of the sweets factory on Fishman Island, a large group of civilians were watching nervously from a distance as the minister is trying to reason with a lion man that's wearing a suit. The minister looks at the lion man nervously. Please, is there any way you might be able to overlook this matter? The factory was attacked during the incident? Peckham shakes his head. Like I've been saying, Minister, that civil war has nothing to do with us. Your people are supposed to prepare an offering once a month so you can use Mama's name. That was the deal. You owe me some compensation or else Mama's gonna hear about this. Rose flies above the town and sees the commotion in front of the factory. Looks like it's time. Luffy spots the factory and points down to it. Hey Rose, let's go down. I want to see if we could get some sweets from the factory. Sanji starts glaring at Luffy. Don't ask Rose-chan for detours, shithead. Rose shakes her head. It's okay Sanji, I was thinking that we should stop here too. Sanji immediately smiles at her. If that's what you want, Rose-chan. Zoro quietly sighs at Sanji's actions before turning to Rose as she's starting to bring them down. She's planning something again. This will be interesting. Rose lands the group in front of the factory, causing everyone to stare at them in shock except for the civilians who are happily waving at them. Hey Straw Hat, is the banquet finished already? Luffy nods while happily waving back at them. Yeah, I'm completely full. The meat was pretty good, but Fishman Island sweets were the best. The citizens immediately lost their smile and started shushing him while Peckhams turns to the minister. Did he just say sweets? Who are these guys? He looks through his book of wanted posters until he stops at Luffy's picture. Ah, so this is Straw Hat Luffy. Hey kid, what was that talk about? SR rushes up to him. Wait Mr. Peckhams, please let me express. Wait, you're not a fish man. Did you come to buy sweets? I just ate a whole stomach full. By the way, do you guys have any more? No one answered Luffy's question as Peckhams growls at the minister. What's the meaning of this? He ate the sweets. A man with very long legs in a suit and wearing eggshell bottoms over it walks up to him. Peckhams, threatening people left and right isn't going to help us collect the sweets bond. Let's settle this peacefully. The tea party is in 4 days, and if we send the candy out by tomorrow morning we can make it in time. Rose looks at the long-legged man curiously. Wow, so this is what a guy from the long-legged tribe looks like. Sanji furrows his eyebrows at him. Who are you? The man tips his black hat to him. My name is Baron Tamago. Tell me, did you all happen to eat the candy that was made by this factory, Bon? Luffy nods with a toothy grin. Yup, it was great, I'd love to have some more. Baron Tamago sighs. There isn't any more, that's the problem. You do realize that the big mark on the factory is our boss's symbol. The Great Big Mom's pirate flag. In other words, this island is protected by Big Mom Bon. Luffy looks up at the flag with a toothy grin. So she's a good person, right? I want to meet her. The long-legged man shakes his head. Don't misunderstand, this is only business. In exchange for her protection, this island must provide her with 10 tons of candy a month. Bon. Luffy widens his eyes at this. 10 tons? He nods. Indeed, Mama likes sweets more than anything else in the world. Don't worry though, we're willing to wait. Until tomorrow morning. The minister quickly shakes his head. I'm sorry, but that's not possible. The giant cooking devices within the factory have been destroyed. It will take at least 2 weeks to repair them. Tamago shakes his head. I'm sorry, but we can't accept that. Sanji twitches an eyebrow in irritation. Hey Tamago, why can't you just wait? Rose starts glaring Tamago and Peckham's. Quit being unreasonable. Zoro nods. What's wrong with your captain? She can't wait for candy. Peckham's shakes his head. No, she can't. If she doesn't receive the payment, then our pact will dissolve and members of Mama's crew will come and destroy Fishman Island. Luffy starts glaring at him. Destroy Fishman Island? Destroying an island over candy is stupid. We just saved the island, damn it. Before Peckham's or Tamago can respond to his protests, a Den Den Mushi with fluffy pink hair and red lipstick starts ringing on a rock behind them. Peckham's widens his eyes behind his sunglasses. That must be Mama. I phoned in the situation to her a few minutes ago. Peckham's looks at it nervously. Since you called, you can answer. Peckham's. The lion shakes his head. You answer, I don't want to get yelled at. While the two pirates were arguing, Luffy walks up to the Den Den Mushi and answers the call. Hey, are you Big Mom? Peckham's and Tamago freak out while Sanji casually smokes his cigarette while Zoro and Rose relax and enjoy the show. Hey, get away from that. Peckham's and Tamago continue yelling and trying to pull him away from the snail, but it was no use. The snail looks at Luffy curiously. This isn't Tamago or Peckham's. Who might you be? I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the man who's gonna be the king of the pirates. Rose giggles at Peckham's and Tamago's faces as they fall to their hands and knees in defeat. Big Mom widens her eyes at the name. I see, you're Garp's grandson. The boy who stirred up the war 2 years ago. Luffy nods before continuing. There's no more candy, I ate it all. Big Mom quietly gasps at this. So the news was true? But, there was supposed to be 10 tons. That's right, I ate all 10 tons. The citizens look at him nervously. You're going too far, Straw Hat. Peckham's quickly nods. Yay, what's the big idea? A vein starts popping on Big Mom's forehead. You're starting to be silly, boy. You shouldn't lie. You're trying to cover for the fishmen, right? That's not true, I'm the one who ate it. I didn't know that the candy was promised to you. We have a lot of treasure here, I'll give it all to you to make up for the candy. Peckham's and Tamago freeze at this while Big Mom glares at Luffy. You expect me to eat treasure? I want candy? Rose clenches her fists at Big Mom's attitude, but keeps quiet while Tamago looks at the bags. Are you saying that all 4 of those bags are treasure? Luffy nods. Yup. I'll take care of this. Tamago takes the Den Den Mushi from Luffy and works on convincing his captain to take the treasure. Zoro huffs before turning to Rose. I take it this was why you wanted to stop here? She nods. Yay, if we didn't do this, then fighting Hody's crew to save the island would have been pointless. I don't know what'll happen since we don't see her on the next island, but I'm sure we'll pull through. Zoro nods. After training for 2 years, I'm sure we're not gonna get killed by a psycho lady. Sanji nods as he puffs a smoke from his cigarette. I think you did the right thing, Rose. After all, now Shirahoshi-chan is safe. Before Rose can respond, Big Mom starts yelling into her Den Den Mushi. Have you gone brain dead, Tamago? How dare you even speak of such a shameful proposition? Are you suggesting a pirate to accept a compromise? Tamago jumps in fear. I'm sorry. Big Mom calms down before smirking. While I don't normally do this, I've become interested in the brat for trying to stand up to me. As you wish, Straw Hat. I'll change the target of my wrath from Fishman Island to you. Come out to the new world so we can face off Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy nods with a serious look in his face. Yay, just you wait, it's too dangerous to leave you in charge anymore, so when I see you I'm gonna kick your ass and make Fishman Island my turf. A vein pops on Big Mom's forehead, but she keeps a smirk too big for her face on. We'll see about that. I look forward to meeting you, brat, Tamago, Peckham's. Once you have the treasure, come back to Whole Cake Island. Peckham's takes the snail with a trembling paw. Why yes, mama, we'll see you soon. Big Mom hangs up her end of the line, causing Peckham's and Tamago to let out a breath that they didn't know they were holding. The minister kept a stunned expression on his face while turning to Luffy. Do you have any idea what you did? You just declared war on a Yonko? I don't care, she can't control the island anymore. Tamago looks at him nervously. He's actually serious. At least we can get some treasure out of this experience. He walks towards Sanji, Zoro and Rose to grab the bags of treasure, then gets a closer look at Rose, that girl. He keeps quiet as he grabs 2 of the treasure bags while Peckham's grabs the rest. Peckham's turns to the minister. You are lucky this month. Make sure to prepare the proper payment for next month. Before the minister can respond, Luffy steps in. He won't need to because your captain won't control the island anymore. Before anyone else says anything, Rose steps in and places a hand on Luffy's shoulder. Take it easy, the island will be fine. We can settle things with them when we go to the new world. Luffy nods, causing the pair to walk away along with Sanji and Zoro down the path the fishmen cleared for them. Tamago keeps his focus on Rose before turning to Peckham's. Does that book of yours have bounty posters of the dead Peckhams? Peckham's nods as he grabs his booklet of wanted posters. Yay, why? Will you show me Katone Rose's poster? Peckham's nods as he flips through the pages, then his jaw drops when he reaches Rose's poster. That's the girl we just saw. Tamago nods as he keeps his stare on the path the group took. Looks like the demon is back from the dead. Big Mom is going to want to hear about this. Peckham's balances the 2 bags in one paw while holding the Den Den Mushi in another. I'll tell her as soon as we get on the ship. The 2 pirates walked back to the ship and left the minister and citizens alone to wonder what their future pirates walk into the foyer of the castle where Ace, Jinbei, Neptune and the crew were waiting for them. Nami rushes over to them and looks around for the treasure. Where's the treasure? Rose rubs the back of her head sheepishly. About that, we kind of had to give it to Big Mom. Nami, along with everyone else in the room, stares at the group in shock. You gave the treasure to Big Mom? Luffy nods while crossing his arms over his chest with a serious look on his face. Yay, that woman was crazy. She said she was going to destroy the island because you didn't have candy. But relax, I said I'd kick her ass. Usopp, Frankie, Zira and Brook start freaking out. You said you're gonna fight one of the emperors? Ace groans in frustration. You haven't even made it to the new world yet and you already started trouble. What am I gonna do with you? Jinbei sighs before turning to Usopp. Take my advice, do whatever you can to not irritate her any further. You think I wouldn't? Nami glares at group while clenching into her climax with a dark aura surrounding her. Why did you have to give her everything? The other guys look at her in shock. That's why you're mad. Rose flinches at her glare before raising a hand up while digging into her coat pocket with the other. Wait, I saved some of the treasure. Nami immediately calms down and starts smiling. You did? She quickly nods as she takes a small pouch full of gold from her pocket. I smuggled some of it in here when I was gathering it with the guys. I'm sure Big Mom won't miss this much. Belly signs start forming in Nami's eyes as she grabs the pouch and hugs it. Great work, Rose. Rose chuckles at the change in attitude, happy to help. Zoro's sweat drops at the pair. I don't know which one's craftier. Luffy laughs while raising his fists up. Alright. Let's go to the new world. How long do we have to wait until the ship is coated, Frankie? With Den and Kato's help we can get it ready by tomorrow afternoon. Nami nods. Tomorrow, we should get everything we need before leaving. The others nod while Luffy shows off a toothy grin. In that case, let's party for out last night here. The rest of the crew cheers at that as they leave the banquet hall to enjoy their last night with Rose, Neptune and Jinbei lagging behind. Before Rose can leave the room with the others, Neptune swims up to her. Wait, you knew your captain would give away the treasure, correct? Did you take care of the bomb? Rose's purple eyes become as wide as plates before she scrambles her hair. Holy shit, I completely forgot that was in there. Jinbei quirks an eyebrow in confusion. What bomb? Rose turns to him with a cloud of depression hanging over her head. The captain of the guards placed bombs in one of the treasure boxes in the stash we gave Big Mom. Jimbei was completely stunned at the news before rubbing his temples. Now I really have to leave Big Mom's crew. Rose raises her hands up defensively. Wait, there's probably no need to panic. That bomb is years old, so it's possible that it's no good anymore. If it's still good though, who knows what'll happen. Neptune quickly nods. You're right, that bomb probably went bad. She nods. In any case, it's our problem now. We can take care of it, so you don't need to worry about it, Your Highness. Please call me Neptune. Thank you for reassuring me, and I apologize for our carelessness. Don't worry about it, but please don't tell the others about the bomb. They'll only freak out more. Neptune nods before leaving to join the others in the banquet hall. Rose walks up to Jimbei with a serious look on her face. You're going to see Big Mom to quit her crew, correct? Jimbei jolts at the question before sighing. So you knew about that too, huh? It's true. She nods. I think it's best not to tell her about the bomb or she'll think we left it there on purpose. He shivers at the thought. I think you're right, I'll keep it a secret for you. Thank you. If it's okay with you, I'd like to ask you something as well. What is it? Does Big Mom have any kind of devil fruit power we should be aware of? Jimbei widens his eyes at the question. You don't know? She nods with a small frown on her face. After the next island, I will no longer know the crew's future adventures. We won't be meeting Big Mom on that island, so she's a mystery. I've tried asking Shanks about her when I was training with him, but he always avoided the subject and warned me to stay away from her. Jimbei nods. He was right in telling you to stay away from her. I'll tell you what I know about her as thanks for helping the island. Rose nods as she grabs her journal from her bag along with a pen to jot down some notes. Big Mom has a devil fruit called the soul fruit. It gives her the ability to extract the lifespan of whoever she touches by the amount of years of her choice and absorbs it into her body. Rose's breath hitches at that. Holy shit, this bitch is dangerous. She can also use her ability to bring inanimate objects to life by placing harvested lifespans into them. I see. So she can create an object army. We got a tough fight ahead of us. That's all I know in concerns of her devil fruit. I've heard that a lot of her children have devil fruits as well, but I don't know them. She nods as she jots it down. That's okay. Knowing this much is really useful. Wait, she does the family system like Whitebeard did? He shakes his head. No, she has a total of 84 biological children. Rose's eyes bug out at the information. What the hell? If that's the case, then Lola really could be Big Mom's kid. Jimbei nods. It's true, she marries them off to different crews in order to become stronger and achieve her dream. Rose quirks an eyebrow at this. Her dream? Yes, her dream is to have a family with all of the world's races. She could only stare at him as she processed this information. Wow, I didn't expect that from her. I gotta admit, that dream is pretty interesting. It kind of sucks that she puts her kids in arranged marriages for it though. It came as a shock for me too when I first found out. She nods as she finishes jotting down her notes and closes the book. In any case, this information will be really helpful in the future. Thanks, Jimbei. He nods before looking at her softly. You're welcome, but there's something you need to know. You're the one who's going to be in the most danger against Big Mom. Rose freezes at this. You mean because of my heritage? He nods. You're the only one of your kind in this world. Big Mom will stop at nothing to have you in her possession once she finds out you're alive. She slowly nods while clenching her journal. It makes sense if she wants every race in her family. Doesn't mean I'm going to let that crazy monster have me though. I understand, I'll be on my guard when the time comes. Will you be okay though? I mean leaving her crew. Jimbei grins at the concern before nodding. There's nothing to fear. She doesn't kill her crew members that want to leave. Once I leave her crew, I'll be ready to join the crew. Rose grins at this. Great, I can't wait to have you in the crew. Before Jimbei can respond, Luffy runs into the room. What are you guys standing around here for? Come join the fun. The two pirates nod as they join Luffy in the banquet hall to enjoy their last night on Fishman Island together while Rose silently wonders what the future awaits her and the crew.